Hello, everybody. My name is Matthew Manning, and I am one of the UK channel SCs for the UK and Ireland. And today we've got the first part of our new Back to Basics series. And we're going to be looking at our network security, our perimeter security, our traditional solutions of firewalls, which we now call quantum security. I'm on my own today. Normally I have a guest or a host, another host with me, but it's just me today. So feel free to ask questions in the chat. We'll see if we can answer them as we go. But hopefully we'll be able to dig deeper into this part of our technology suite. Now, I say this is back to basics. This is really, if you've never really seen Check Point before and you would like to learn the fundamentals of our technology, today is going to be the day for you. If, however, you are a seasoned professional and you know a lot about our technology, maybe you've sat one of our CCSA or CCSE training courses before, today is probably not for you. So we're going to delve into the first part of our technology. Now, for those of you who have seen pretty much any Check Point presentation before, you've almost certainly seen this slide. Now, we have here what we call Check Point Infinity. Infinity is essentially our total security solution for all of the three major areas of your infrastructure requirements. We have in the bottom left-hand corner, which is the network component, which is what we're going to be looking at today. The top left-hand side, we have cloud for people who are deploying their architecture in public cloud environments. And on the right-hand side, we have our security suite, which is to protect users' assets and also protect users' internet browsing and access to corporate devices. So it is this bottom left-hand corner that we're going to be looking at today to delve deeper into our technologies. So let's get straight into it. Now, we have a very rich, very experienced team of developers who have built a software solution for around 20 odd years now in the firewall space. And as a result of that, we have a huge amount of features that can come with that particular technology. So I'm going to very briefly break down the three areas of our solution. The top line, the top banner you see there is our next generation threat protection. That is going to be a suite of tools, a suite of software solutions that will protect your business environment against the threats that are out there in the wild. Okay, so it's going to stop hackers coming in, breaching your environment, and affecting you with pieces of malware or breaching your security doors and actually stealing things from inside your business. The next layer down, which is the Advanced Network Security Suite, this is going to make up part of that protection above, but is also going to protect your users. So ensuring that you can control what access your users have to system resources and things out in the wild, and also to ensure that we can create secure connectivity between multiple business sites that you may have. The last section at the bottom there is the threat management, which is essentially the tool and the suites that we have that allow you to control, change, and report on the solution that you've put in place and to gather insight into your security landscape. On the right-hand side, what we have is a few different ways and places that we can deploy this solution. So everything from small to large offices, to private cloud environments, to public cloud environments, we have a software solution that can be placed into these different environments. Now, all of these different technologies, whether or not it's cloud, endpoint, or on-premise firewalls, all of our solutions are connected to this global shared threat intelligence platform. This is essentially where all of our different solutions send back the telemetry of the threats that they've seen out in the wild to a centralized repository. This is where we are able to analyze those files, understand those files, make sense of them, and decide if they are benign or if they are a genuine threat, known to us or new threat that we've seen out in the wild. And all products that you purchase from Check Point will be connected to this enormous threat cloud database. You can see some of the big numbers on the right-hand side there that are showing you sort of how much data, how much telemetry we actually are getting from our customer systems. And we have the best and the most robust and advanced security system in the world. And we would recommend that people buy our products and connect to this incredibly vast architecture that we have. So as you can see, we've got a huge amount of products, a huge amount of features inside those products that can secure your environment. And it becomes incredibly complicated to know where to start and how to start securing your environment. And this is why we have spent years developing what we and many in the industry believe is the simplest and easiest product to use from a management perspective. We have a single unified software piece of software, a single console that allows you to manage all of your different security requirements in one centralized location. And this doesn't matter if you are trying to protect a data center, allowing the big bad world into your environment to access things like web interfaces, web pages, and web infrastructure, and other types of inbound technology, all protecting users going out to the wild and making sure that they're only accessing certain assets, certain resources. This can all be done through one unified platform. What does this look like? Well, this is a very, very small slice out of our product that shows you that it doesn't matter if you are looking at users, if you're looking at the type of devices that they're trying to connect to. It doesn't matter what environment, whether or not it's public or private cloud. All of this can be done from one centralized rule base. We've spent a lot of time condensing this down to the simplest possible way to administer your security landscape. And you can see here that there's a lot that can be done in one screen, and we've made that very easy for customers to do that. Even to the point where we've actually started to do things like integrate people's logos, different products' logos into our platform, so that at a glance, you can easily understand what is happening and how your security landscape has been configured. We've taken new steps to move towards autonomous threat prevention. What do we mean by autonomous threat prevention? Well, in some ways, you have that in an area of your IT infrastructure already. You already have different tools that you trust. And that is particularly as in the world of antivirus and malware protection. No one ever opens up the malware protection databases and looks inside to make sure that you have all the relevant signatures and tools that you need in there. You just trust that the providers that put these things in place have got that signature database up to date for you. All you really care about is making sure it's up to date. So you hand over that trust of your endpoint security to those providers. What we're saying is take that next step. Take that next step for your perimeter security, because we know in customers' environments the type of security that needs to be put in place. So we are able to use AI-driven security policies to protect against zero-day attacks and essentially implement the best security practices for you just with a couple of clicks of choosing the type of network processes that you have in place. This is a very, very new, very different way of implementing IT security, but it will save a huge amount of administrative time tuning and tweaking your policies, because we have got that all set and sorted for you out of the box. Once you've got those policies in place, you definitely obviously want to know what's going on in your environment. And we have a very comprehensive live reporting tools that will allow you to dig into those security threats that are hitting your front door. Maybe things like malware that people are, websites that people are accessing that may have malware that we've blocked. We can tell you how we're protecting your system and let you understand exactly the sort of threats that we are blocking in your environment. Now, I've said we are a software-based company, but we do sell hardware. Customers like to have guaranteed hardware performance stats. So we have a range of appliances that you can purchase from us, ranging anything from a small desktop-sized device up to the rackable appliances. These are our Quantum Spark appliances. These are designed for small and medium-sized businesses. And these allow us to put in a gateway that can be centrally managed. So you can connect it up to a big hub and you can manage lots of these devices from one place, or you can manage them locally. These are perfect for people who are having an organization with a small number of people who are wanting to access the internet, access resources, and want to feel safe and secure when they're doing that. These are locally managed and they are very intuitive and easy to understand. Very briefly here, you can see here that you can manage multiple of these devices from a centralized platform using a dedicated management infrastructure. Or if you want to just have a couple of these devices running as a cluster, you can manage them locally. The choice is yours. Now, the bulk, the bread and butter of our product range is our full quantum security gateways. These are designed for customers who have not only users going outbound, but almost certainly have a large internal threats that need to be internal devices that need to be protected as well. This is great for customers who have got comms room or data centers where they're hosting their own services and they want to allow users from the internet into their environment and also have users going out to the internet as well. These are fantastic for those types of environments. And these make up the bulk of our product range. And you can see there that they have some very large numbers of what we can protect. All of the numbers that you see on the screen here are what we call full threat prevention. So this is all of our blades turned on, all of our features turned on, not missing anything. So you know that if you get this, you're going to get the best level of security possible. We also sell to some of the largest customers in the world, telco and ISP level providers. We have a platform that can provide a huge level of security for those types of customers as well. The stats on these boxes are quite phenomenal. And as you can appreciate, we don't sell one of these every day, largely because customers have got to feel really confident that they're going to make an investment in a chassis this size, which typically tends to be installed with a forklift. That they are going to be very confident that they're going to need this level of performance out of their box. And not everybody knows day one that in a year's time they're going to grow into an environment this big. So we've come up with one solution. It's the first of its kind, which is called Maestro. So we see this as the chassis-less hyperscale environment. This allows people to remove that physical chassis that you saw in those previous slides and replace it with an intelligent switch called a Maestro Hyperscale Orchestrator. This intelligent system allows us to cluster load share between multiple different devices, and it is the brains of the operation in this particular situation. What we can do is take a very typical 2-node cluster, and we can take what is, for most organizations, the level of redundancy they have. It doesn't really matter what security vendor you buy out there. You're probably clustering with only 2 gateways, but Check Point is the first of the kind that will allow you to scale in this method. Now, if you wanted to increase this platform or you wanted to increase the amount of throughput that you can have, all you simply have to do is unbox a new appliance, plug it in with the network cables, plug in the power and turn it on, and instantly a copy of the operating system, configuration and security policies will be pushed down to those gateways. And within 6 minutes, you'll have a fully operational device that has been accepted into that multi-node cluster and will start to process traffic. At the moment, we can support up to 52 appliances. And if you were to go with some of our larger appliances in this platform, you'd be able to support up to a whopping 1.5 terabits per second of full threat prevention throughput, which is incredible and actually surpasses those larger chassis that you saw earlier. So one of the main things I love about our technology in the firewall space is how flexible our solutions are. Doesn't matter if you're interested in deploying in the cloud, public or private. If you're looking at still going with on-premise hardware, we have a solution that will fit your needs. Like I mentioned earlier, we are a software security provider. And although we do sell appliances, we can actually put our firewall perimeter security in multiple different places. So here we have an example of a few different places where some of our customers choose to deploy their IT security infrastructure and how Check Point can help and connect you into these different platforms and provide security in each of those environments. At the same time, connecting them all together with a centralized logging, reporting, and policy management. So let's have a little think about what we have and what we've historically had for most of our customers. Historically, we would have had customers that would have had some form of head office, that would have had some system resources. Things in here we have like email, maybe an intranet where somebody could book their holidays or do all of their sales reporting. We would have some form of voice over IP for desk phones, and maybe some file storage things to hold company corporate data. Also in here, we'd have staff. They would be connecting to the internet, browsing in their lunch times, accessing business tools, and would always be located in that environment. For this particular environment, we'd probably choose to put something in here, such as maybe a couple of Check Point 6200s. They're some of our smaller or medium range appliances, and they would be a great place to protect and secure this environment. Over in the data center space, it would be quite common for customers to be publishing public services where people would come into. This would be maybe a company website, particularly if they're an e-commerce site. There would be a database behind this to help run that platform. In this environment, we'd potentially need something a little bit bigger to deal with that inbound user traffic. So probably go for something along the lines of a Checkpoint 2800, which would be a 2U server and would start to have replaceable components. So you would have multiple power supplies, multiple transceivers, and carrier cards. So you can switch out the type of interfaces that you choose to go with. These will allow you to switch out the copper cards, maybe the 1 GB copper cards, and instead maybe replace them with some fiber cards that fit your switch infrastructure that you have in place. You may also have a site office, maybe some smaller satellite offices, maybe lots of them scattered around the country. And that's maybe where we would stick one of our Spark appliances, one of our Quantum Spark appliances, the 1600 appliances in those environments. And again, in there, you'd probably just have some former staff. Now, how do they all work? Well, we would cluster these together. So each of these would be connected in a mechanism that would allow them to communicate in case one failed over. And then they would connect into the environment and allow all of these different services to be connected up. Also, inside this environment, we could set up site-to-site VPNs between these two different sites. So there's a secure communication between the two different environments. So people or services inside each business place can communicate securely with each other. Also, the product inside here is called a Smart One appliance or a Smart One virtual machine. And inside of this would give the ability to manage the policies for these different environments, as well as receive logging information and be able to provide reporting on that. So this smart device would be connected to not only the local gateways, but also the gateways remotely at the head office and the site offices. And that was how we would communicate to those environments. The external remote access users could also provide some form of remote access through a VPN client, either using IPsec or SSL. And from there, they could provide a remote tunnel into the different sites that they may be interested in connecting to, depending on what resources they're hoping to access. Now, I mentioned a lot already about the fact that we are a software company, so you can buy appliances, but in any of these sites, it would be possible for you to maybe go with some alternative solutions. We support the installation of a Checkpoint firewall on open server hardware. So if you've partnered with common partners like IBM, HP, or Dell, you'd be able to install our software solution on those appliances if you have those available, as long as you check the hardware compatibility list. As well as we support virtualization on-premise such as VMware, Nutanix, Hyper-V, amongst others on site. So you could choose to deploy your solutions, and that is very popular with a lot of our customers. The big change, however, that we've seen in the last few years is that all these sorts of services that used to be hosted inside the organizations have been moved to different places. They've either been moved online and are now being consumed as software as a service. Examples of this would be email being converted into Office 365, file storage is being converted into OneDrive. However, some of these solutions, such as maybe the internal web infrastructure, no longer lives in the cloud as a SaaS solution or on-premise. It's most likely been moved to some form of cloud provider online. For this example here, we're going to move the intranet to AWS. If we have resources inside of that, what do you deploy? Well, in this instance, we take what's called CloudGuard, which is a virtualized version, a public cloud version of our security suite. It is almost identical in every way to the solutions in hardware or software that you may have installed before, but it just happens to live inside AWS and can also be connected to this Smart One infrastructure, push policies and receive logging and create reports based off of these gateways. And it does not matter if you're using AWS, Azure, Alibaba, Oracle, we will have a security solution that is in place for you. These can not only be static gateways with a fixed amount of system resource, they can also be automatic scale sets so they can grow and shrink as your businesses require. The same thing has happened for the local head office resources as for the things that were in the data center, in some ways more so. Things such as the public website and its internal infrastructure have been moved to the cloud, and it is very important that you put a security perimeter gateway in front of those assets, as we did with the intranet inside of AWS. Now, the one last thing that's really interesting for people to know in this short back to basics session is that this Smart One solution appears in this instance to be maybe possibly one of the only pieces of infrastructure to be remaining in this data center or on premise, as these IT administrators have chosen to take their IT infrastructure and move it to the cloud. So Checkpoint offer two different solutions. One is, you, if you wish, you can take this Smart One appliance and you can place this in the cloud if you wish. And that is a choice that many of our customers have made, is to deploy a virtual machine, a Smart One virtual machine in the cloud and manage the infrastructure from there. Or if you don't wish to do that, you can consume a Smart One cloud instance, which lives inside the Checkpoint portal. It lives inside our infrastructure, and we have that hosted for you. The benefit of that is there is no installation apart from just turning the service on. To get yourself to a vanilla blank policy, you will no longer have to upgrade, maintain the software that runs behind that, because we will do that as part of a platform that's there. People have done this for years when they've migrated their Microsoft Exchange email servers from on-premise to an Office 365 infrastructure. We are doing exactly the same, but with just our checkpoint management information. So as I've said, this was a quick back to basics session. We really hope that this has been insightful for some people who maybe haven't checked Checkpoint technology before. If you have any further questions, please reach out in the chat. We will try our hardest to reply to any comments that people leave. But most importantly, if you are a customer, go speak to your reseller. They normally have a fantastic group of pre-sales engineers that can help field your questions. If you are one of our partners, reach out to your Checkpoint SE, your security engineer. Will be more than happy to help with any questions you have. Maybe take this further and run a demo for your environment to let you understand and see what our Checkpoint technology has to offer. Like I say, back to basics. We're not digging deep today, but hopefully this will be of a few people. Thank you, everybody, for watching.